Hey guys, so this is my newest Young Justice What If. Now guys, my last commentary I said I was gonna do what if Spider-Man 2099 was in that Titans TV show. But basically, first of all, Spider-Man 2099 is even a teenager, and also it's just it just I can't find a season that just push him in or just slide him in. So I'm doing this what if first. And after this, what if will be uploading? Uh, I will be uploading. Hmm. What if Deku had Magneto's powers, and also my other what if, except for the 2099 Spider-Man Titans what if. Basically, I'm gonna be replacing that with a. Oh, so I'm gonna be replacing that with another Young Justice what if, and you guys can decide in the comments. Or I might be replacing that with part 4 of what if Shazam was in Young Justice, or part 3 or 2 to what if Benton was in Invincible. I mean, what if Shazam was in earlier? I said what if Shazam was in Invincible, and or probably uploading what if I was probably uploading what if Benton was in Invincible part 2 or 4, or part 2 or 3 or 4. I think I only made 2 parts, so yeah, part 3 or 4. Now basically, let's get into it, guys. Now, after the video, I will be uploading I will be uploading later tonight, or probably on Thursday morning or afternoon, maybe even night. So I'm going to try to upload as much as I can on Thursday and Friday, because most of the time when I say I'm going to upload throughout the week, I mainly will be uploading like probably on a Tuesday, probably on a Thursday, but never on a Wednesday. Maybe sometimes, but not really. But yeah, let's get into it. Now we start our story off with our Ghost Rider. Now originally I wanted to make my own Ghost Rider, or just straight up just make a Ghost Rider up all like in one. Just make a new Ghost Rider host, just a new character, kind of like what I did with What If Werewolves Were in Young Justice Part 1 and 2, with Rex, or my werewolf protagonist I made up in season 3. And I'm also be basing this off season 3, since this is a new character that needs a lot of development that I'm gonna pit, that doesn't need to have all of its development overshadowed by other characters like Robin or Kid Flash or Wally. Now basically, it starts story off with our Ghost Rider, the newest version of Ghost Rider, and also the only known teenage Ghost Rider, Robbie. Now, basically, Robbie is the only known teenage Ghost Rider. Now, if you don't know Robbie's origin, I'm just gonna put it in terms so I can make him a part of Young Justice universe, and also um also if you don't know his power set, it's basically just the same powers as all the previous, just normal Ghost Riders like Johnny Blaze. The ability to control hellfire, complete regeneration, immunity to pain, and super durability, being able to take hits from Hulk and powerhouses like Thor and Hulk, maybe even near Thanos, Infinity, Stones level durability. Also, being able to regenerate whole limbs, and also whole skulls as well, without any pain. Also, the ability to control hellfire in multiple different ways, like creating blast, also enchanting it, and also making pretty much blasting or channeling them through weapons, kind of like the shotgun in the Ghost Rider movie, or in terms Robbie's blades and his chain. And also, all Ghost Riders, or normally most Ghost Riders, have a chain that they can extend at will, and also has a chain that is unbreakable and pretty much can cut through anything. And also, the Hell Cycle, and anything that a Hell Cycle can do, pretty much Robbie's, Hellblazer, Hell Charger can do that, but I'm not going to get into Hell Charger just yet. But let's get into his origin and how he's going to fit in. Now we start off with Robbie Harris, and we see him, doing his everyday life. Pretty much him supporting and pretty much, supporting and helping, and also just all together raising his disabled little brother. And on top of that, working his job at a mechanics, and also on top of that, going in illegal street races to get some money, and also on top of that, multiple other things like going to school. So Harris is pretty occupied in pretty much Robbie is pretty occupied in all sorts of other stuff. Now Robbie one night decides to go on one illegal race with a stolen 47 Charger. Now basically he at first just gets it, but little as you know, it's something very demonic within the car. Now basically he's about to start, and as this is happening, the events during episode 3, season 3 are playing out just like they are. Now at this point, as pretty much as Robbie was doing all this, what would happen is basically doing the events of pretty much the Titans infiltrating the castle in episode 3, basically trying to find the prince and also finding their teammate. Basically they would have infiltrated it. Now at that point nothing would really change at that point because that could basically Robbie wouldn't be a part of it. Now, as this time would be switched to our perspective to this episode, to the streets where Robbie was driving. Now, Robbie would be driving and winning out of nowhere, he would have crashed. Now, basically, pretty much Robbie would have crashed and would have flipped over his car nearly over the pretty much bridge they were on. And basically, Robbie was he should have just fell out of the car since he didn't have a seatbelt on. He fell out of the car and was about 6 feet away from the car, bloody, bruised, and a broken leg and all sorts of other stuff. Now, Robbie felt in pain, basically feeling that he couldn't move until pretty much the car started, or it seemed like the way. The car started to engulf in flames, but didn't blow up. And the flames started to travel towards Robbie by the blood trail that led to the car, and they engulfed Robbie. Robbie started yelling out in pain, but eventually he stopped, and he was in a mind space. And basically he would be shown that he's a Ghost Rider. Now, his Ghost Rider wouldn't be given the power of a Ghost Rider, but pretty much he wouldn't have the powers or get the same powers as normal Ghost Riders get them. Basically, he would have saw, his uncle he's never seen, but he's only saw it once, that he barely remembers his face. And his uncle would be a homicidal maniac murderer that would basically be, an evil spirit locked in the car. Now, his uncle would have, since his uncle, or his spirit, or since his uncle, was related to him, and he was a spirit, he embedded himself into Robbie's body, or into his soul, or pretty much just into his body in general. And with his evil spirit came both the same abilities as a Ghost Rider for some reason. And basically, pretty much Robbie would have all the powers of a Ghost Rider that I listed a couple minutes ago, and would also have the ability to enchant his Hell Charger. Now, so Miguel's Hellblazer or Hell Charger would be incredibly useful and handy. Basically, having the same capabilities as the Hell Cycle, being able to drive on water, drive up walls, also flip, jump in midair, and also pull off ridiculous jumps in pretty much rafts or rims. Basically being able to pull off ridiculous jumps, flips, wheel turns, just straight up stopping, and all sorts of other stuff. Just inhuman stuff or impossible stuff a normal car can do. And also, this car does move faster than any man built. Literally any man built vehicle, including planes, rockets, anything. So basically, yeah, Robbie would be pretty OP, but he wouldn't know this yet, and he wouldn't get to this power level yet until later on in the episode, or later on in probably episode 4. Now we see Robbie basically wake up, looking around, seeing that his leg was healed and that his body was okay, that all of his scars have been burnt up and sutured shut and are slowly healing. Now, basically, Robbie would have gotten up, seeing that the car was in perfect condition, just up straight and just completely ready to go. Now, Robbie would think that his head was playing games with him until he started to have a last shot of pain and his body started to transform. And he saw the skin on his hand started to disintegrate off, and nothing was like bone and fire. Now, basically, James would have yelled in pain, and he would have been fighting back and forth with his uncle. Now, his uncle, it would be a little bit different. Now, since James wasn't filled or wasn't possessed by a spirit of vengeance, he was always fighting with his uncle, or he will be always fighting with his uncle between the kill any living soul, as in a murderer, or to be a good person that goes after vengeance. Now, basically, Jaime would have fought with his uncle, him having a lot of mental power and a lot of will to overcome his uncle. But his uncle will always fight back and always try to fight those small points in Jaime's brain to overcome for a couple minutes so he can, kill. And basically, Robbie would have got on a, well, rampage on night, basically taking down bad guys, and also him finding the man or the person that actually sabotaged his charger. Now, basically, a couple of the thugs were actually sabotaged Robbie's charger to make him crash so he would lose the race. So basically, Robbie, him knowing this, finding this out after he was driving his hell, charger, him sensing something that happened earlier in the hell charger. He would have gone after the man that the spirit of his uncle last saw touching the car, other than, him. And basically would have, straight up just walked up in his house and just would have murked him then and there. Like, didn't even say anything, just straight up glocked him. Now, basically, he would have left his house, not even saying a word. Literally just, it was quick. Like, he just walked in, found the man, sitting down watching TV in his underwear, like straight up just chilling in his own comfort of his house, and just got the boy. Like it was no talking or nothing. Didn't even say I am vengeance. No, he just straight up ran up to him, grabbed his face, and burned his whole face off. It wasn't even any talking. It was quick. Like, he didn't even walk. He just sprinted in the house, grabbed his forehead, and burned him and just ran out. Like, it was the quickest thing ever. Now, basically, Riley would have driven around, finding the other gang members, and also going after all of them. Basically, taking them out in brutal ways, but mostly main of them, since Robbie still had some control over his Ghost Rider form, or, had control, since it was his body, or his, spirit. Basically, he stopped himself multiple times, just leaving survivors there to spread the word of the Ghost Rider. Now, the survivors would be so shocked to a point where they couldn't even talk about the experience. They couldn't even write it down. They were too scared of what the Ghost Rider would do to them if they snitched. So they just kept shut, saying it was some sort of crazy guy. And no one would know who killed them. And also, all of them would think it was a meta, since all their faces were burned off. They were thrown against walls that no normal human can throw people through. Being ripped apart, just straight up brutal ways in general. Having handprints burned into their chest. Just crazy stuff that only a meta, or what they think only a meta can do. Now, they would go in the security cameras, and all they would see was a bright light. Basically, the spirit of, his uncle trying to, or not really have a time when, his uncle did slightly overcome Robbie did use a little bit of his willpower to brighten his flames on a different level to basically blur the cameras on him, making him just look like a blurry light. And basically, none of them will be able to turn out the silhouette, just seeing a blurry light. It just walking around and all the time when the blurry light came out the, focus of the camera, all they saw was dead bodies. So they could never, analyze or just straight up, pinpoint who this meta was or what this thing was. Now, basically, Jaimez would have thought of himself as a very, pretty much, I'm probably going to switch it to Jaimez or Robbie back and forth, or just probably going to, introduce him or like narrate him as Ghost or Writer and stuff like that. So basically, Bobby, Robbie, that's it. Robbie would have well, over the days of him being Ghost Rider, he would have trained himself to try to control it. Him being able to transform his bodies at daytime, transform his body in small fractions, like his forearms into the Ghost Rider form. Now he would become more or less more powerful over the days and would have suppressed his uncle more and more. So his uncle at this point would just be a more or less a more urge to fight against, more than a mind or more than an extra soul in Hyman's, and more extra soul in Robbie's body. Now basically Robbie would have, well, over the days, tried to focus his body to control the Ghost Rider, and him succeeding and also being able to use it without transforming. We're not able to use it at full capacity, but being able to use it without transforming, as in such kind of like, well, as in like certain small forms like controlling fire or attracting fire towards him, or being able to, well, possess or enchant objects like taking a sword or knife or a gun and enchanting the Ghost Rider power even without transforming, kind of like Johnny Blaze did on the Ghost Rider movie. Now basically what happened at this point, basically the Justice League, the Young Justice, or the pretty much team would have, well, taken in the Prince and also would have taken in multiple others, and pretty much episode 3 would have flew back, just us getting shown Robbie's origin and how he would come to be. Now basically we get switched a couple days later, where the rest of the team would have made themselves better and would have started to train the others and started to, well, try to help them. Now, we get switched to episode 4 with pretty much Bow Hunter security, and basically we see, well, Grayson, Grayson. Also, we see another person. I just don't like his character. I ain't even gonna say his name. And also Arsenal. So now, basically, as you know, the private security are pretty much Grayson, the Harpers, and Harper. Basically, they get together, and basically, before he helps Grayson, he says, "As long as you do something for me." And they get all dressed up. It's straight up just security guard outfits. Grayson being in a tight security guard shirt. Basically, the only one that can fly in this whole fit, the security fit, probably Arsenal, since he looks the flyest with the whole security guard jacket, gloves, and, the awesome hat. Basically, him just looking the drippiest of all of them. Now, basically, we would see pretty much Jaimez, pretty much walking in the park, the same park where Artemis and Halo would be talking. Now, basically, pretty much Robbie would have been confused on why everybody was running around with these whole tire head things on. Now, he would know about the news and everything. Him just not really caring about it. Him just mainly focusing on what was happening to him, and him holding on his hand, seeing flames come out of him. Basically, he would see flames come out of his hand. Basically, it shifting and changing. Him trying to focus his flames in some sort of way, as well, kind of like how Diablo did with his flames to make a construct. Now, basically, he was trying to do this as he was interrupted by a guy that pretty much tripped and fall in front of him. The same guy that tripped and fall in front of Halo and Artemis with the Superman shirt. Now, basically, the guy would have said, "Sorry." Basically, him saying, "No problem." Basically, him being up and walking away. Now he would have called his charger, and basically he would have gotten to his charger, started up, and would have drove. Now basically he would have drove, thinking about what he could do this, to become a hero of some sorts, to try to become better. Basically him trying to, do what was wrong, do what was right. Now he would come back to his house, basically, attending to his disabled little brother as normal and just going through his whole life as normal. But him taking some time off of his mechanical job, being able to talk to, well, his boss being a little bit, kind of understanding of Jaime's, because Jaime's made up a whole big thing about how his parents came back or whatever, and blah blah blah. Basically, us seeing that, well, Jaime's gets off a couple of days, or pretty much gets a later shift with the same pay, but he has to work double the amount of work in the less time than he does originally. So basically, he has to work as much work as he does in a full shift, just half the time. And if he doesn't get it done, he gets half the paycheck. So it's immediately just straight up, well, completely awesome. I mean, because he does get some time off, and Hymus is able to work pretty quickly using some of his fire abilities to do it on the fly and suture some parts together and multiple other stuff, and also using his Ghost Rider strength to do other stuff like that. Now, pretty much, we will get switched out to Jaime pretty much driving his car, and us seeing pretty much Groove VR with the VR sets that pretty much, well, the Harpers and Grayson are basically transporting, and basically all of them would be very, Grayson would just be the most downer, not even caring at this point. And basically, they would have, pretty much carted it out, and we would get switched to basically Black Lightning and the Doctor talking, with the Doctor that was there for episode 3 that was helping out Ramon, and also Halo. Now, basically, we would get switched to, well, Jaime's driving, and basically him driving up the highway, trying to think of a way to become better. Now, we would see Jaime's, or pretty much Robbie looking, and we would see Robbie right behind the security guard, or pretty much the Harpers and Grayson, right when Tombstone, and pretty much, well, the whole entire car, chasing thing was happening. Now, basically, we would see Jaime's basically drive after Tombstone, basically him looking around, recognizing that, car as, well, a car that one of the men that night he came after, basically saying that, our boss drives in a red car. I don't know who he looks like, but I know his name's Tombstone. He's a big street name, but I don't know. I'm sorry, bro. And pretty much the last thing he remembers is just his screaming. So pretty much Robbie doesn't know if he killed him or just hurted him. Now he would get switched back to basically the house or the safe zone, where basically, well, pretty much basically Superboy and Ramon were talking, and basically just, ratting it out. Now we would get switched to basically, well, the car chase, and we would see Tombstone's car fall down to the ground after Tombstone jumped on the security guard's car trying to get them down. And basically we see Jaime's drive right next to the security guard's car. Basically Jaime's controlling most of his mental power to try to focus himself and, well, him turning his car in broad daylight. Now Jaime's would have opened his car door, letting his car door drive on automatic. Basically him jumping out of the car and summoning, well, pretty much his chain. Now he would have thrown his chain towards Tombstone, grabbing Tombstone and pulling him towards him. Pretty much Robbie grabbing Tombstone and throwing him down to the ground. He would have started to fight him, then going back and forth, and eventually Tombstone being kind of occupied, and pretty much, well, Robbie just being so tired of it, about to try straight up fire blast this man, until Tombstone super punches Robbie backwards, making the car fly backwards, and pretty much making Tombstone jump off the car and jump back on the security guard's car, ripping off their top and basically fighting them. And basically, Grayson and the Harvest would be very confused on about how all this is happening and about how, well, what just happened back then with the whole tire, flaming car. Now we see the car go down into oblivion after, Tombstone ripped the handle off of it after he ripped the top. And we would see basically the other Harpers like Arsenal and that other guy basically occupying the other truck. Now we see Tombstone still actually be able to get on top of it. Basically him grabbing on top of the bottom of, well, one of the trucks. Now we would see basically, well, Ghost Rider pretty much get ready for, well, what was going on. Now we could switch back to the park where basically Robbie was, but where we see, everything that happened originally. Now we see Arsenal and everybody else doing their whole entire thing. Basically, Arsenal's interrogating the other guy. Basically, the other guy taking down, or pretty much him taking down one of the thugs that are, hijacking the car, or the truck. And basically him knocking, pretty much the thug out. Now, pretty much the situation will be controlled pretty quickly. Right when Grayson and the Harbor was about to finish up their whole entire thing, basically they started arguing, and that would lose them some time, and basically Tombstone would have jumped up and would have started to fight them. Now you see Robbie come back, basically Robbie regaining his strength and dropping back at full force. Basically, half of his mental or half of his thinking would be controlled by his, well, devilish uncle. Basically him driving at full speed, completely just crazy, and straight up driving right behind the car Grayson and Harbor were in, or like right behind, their truck. Basically him jumping on top of the truck, running straight up to Tombstone, grabbing Tombstone's chest, and burning handprints right into his chest, taking his heart, and about to just straight up kill this man's, until Robbie gains back consciousness. Robbie stops and throws Tombstone off of the truck, making Tombstone fall into the water. And basically, we would see Ghost Rider basically look back with his flames all bursted, basically him looking towards Grayson and Harbor and them being shocked at what just happened and how somebody just burned through Tombstone's powers. Now basically, we would see, well, Robbie basically say that was tiring. Basically him, well, passing out, falling down to the ground, him, before he fell down to the ground, burning through the truck into the truck, basically him falling into the truck without, cracking any of the stuff, him just de-transforming. Now basically, what we would see is basically, well, we would see after, the whole entire situation was controlled, basically we would see the police, or pretty much them, well, doing their thing, and basically we get switched to basically, well, the Harvards going on with their whole normal thing. Now, basically we would see Arsenal, we would see Speedy, we would see Guardian, and Nightwing going on. Now, Guardian, he's a pretty good character. Just didn't want to say his name because I don't know his real name. And also, the whole time, I didn't even know this man's was Speedy since he was so fat, bro. Like, he didn't look anything like Speedy, bro. Like, just look at him. If you've seen the episode, you've seen episode 3 at like the 20 minutes and 13-second mark. You know what I'm talking about. This Speedy just looks fat and unfit. I mean, like, jeez. Now, guys, I'm going to leave it off here since I already did 2 episodes. Now, guys, basically what we're going to continuing for episode 5 is basically just going to be about, Grayson and all of them trying to help out Robbie alongside the other outcasts, or alongside, pretty much Ramon, Violet, and the others. And basically, see you guys later. Hope you guys have a blessed day. And before I go, next video I'm going to be uploading is going to be either what if Ben 10 was invincible, what if Shazam was invincible? Or probably, what if Deku was Magneto? Or that other what if I uploaded? You guys can decide which video I upload next. Please, guys, decide in the comments. That's the only question I want you to ask or answer. See you guys later. Bye. Deuces, and as always, guys, have a blessed day.